Hello and welcome to PA215 week 6. This week we are learning about pharmaceutical management, and the book that I would go back and study in is this book right here, Pharmacy Terminology. It has a whole chapter on management of pharmacy operations, and so that's what I'm going to lecture out of this week so that we can really talk about pharmaceutical management. So when we're talking about pharmaceutical management, we're talking about how people are managed in the pharmacy. And it starts with the people who work there, such as the pharmacist, the pharmacy technician, the clerks, and the secretaries. A strong pharmacy setting benefits from strong leadership and a management of all this personnel. And so I have to tell you that a personal experience that I had was when I was working in an independent pharmacy, and the owning pharmacist would almost always run the pharmaceutical management reports while I was on duty. He was constantly checking cost analysis on each drug that we were filling. He was constantly checking to make sure that did we have enough technicians that are working compared to how many people were coming in the door, or if there was not anybody coming in the door, he was sending people home so that he kept that cost analysis in check at all times. Sorry, working outside, sometimes you get noise, so I apologize for that. So I wanted to talk a little bit about what cost analysis is, and it is the price, quality, and service of the productivity in the pharmacy. The pharmacist manager is responsible for pharmacy's finances, and the process of controlling these finances includes gathering information and data and continually adjusting operations of the pharmacy to meet the standards. Cost analysis involves information about financial distribution of activity, agency, department of program. So in some of your computer classes, you learned about making tables, using Excel. Those skills can be used when you're talking about pharmacy management. If you are maybe the lead technician and your job is to maybe report on some of this, like cost analysis of some drugs or our fast movers or whatever, that is something that you can use while in the pharmacy, is that software that we talked about, or Word or whatever. Also, purchasing procedures. A lot of this has to do with the pharmacy technician's job. When I worked at the independent pharmacy, my job was to come in and check in the inventory that we had just ordered from the night before. I had to make sure that cost didn't change. I had to make sure that we got everything that we ordered, and I had to make sure that if we did have special orders, what patients they were going to, and that we were charging them the right amount. And so it talks about purchasing procedures in this chapter, which is chapter 26. It says a pharmacy that offers more complex services will be more frequently involved with its purchasing department. You know, I don't know if a large retail pharmacy would special order things, or if they would even have time. Maybe they would, and maybe I'm speaking out of context, because when I worked at Osco Drug, they surely did special order for people. But I don't know if Walgreens would, and I don't know if people would ask them to. I always think about an independent pharmacy being that specialized pharmacy that you could go in and ask them to special order things. It says purchasing department, pharmacy services differ between types of pharmacies and are also dependent on the size of the pharmacy. One of the most common and simplest methods of inventory control is the want book. And so when I worked at D&H, that was the independent pharmacy, we would take a sticker off a drug, and if we needed it, we would stick it on this want book. Or say someone wanted to special order something, we would write that down. They would like this. And so that would be called the want book. They define it as the want book is a list of items that the pharmacist or pharmacy technician needs to order. In today's pharmacy, it is more likely to be entered into a handheld electronic device instead of an actual book. So that's true. And so that paper system, they're trying to get away from, and usually the inventory management is kept in the computer, so it'll say, oh, you're out of this, I'm ordering it, or I'm putting it on the next order. It'll just automatically order it unless someone takes it off the order. So that's easy for today's. Sometimes the want book is just a few drugs, like specialty order drugs that we know that we need. Record keeping is an important part of pharmacy technician's job, involving the accurate Maintenance of patient records on the pharmacy information system. Patient records should include the patient's height, weight, diagnosis, treatment, diet plan, therapy, blood, and laboratory test results in the name of his or her primary physician. Up-to-date records allow the pharmacist to provide better care and patient counseling. And I was just lecturing in another class about patient pharmacy law, and one of the laws that you have to know is that patients have to be, the omnibus law, that patients have to be counseled to. And so if a patient is on a type of medication and they're on a diet that maybe interacts with it, it's good for the pharmacist to know so that then they can counsel that patient. Inventory control, we talked a little bit about the inventory control and how that is, and how the pharmacy technician can really help in that. And then repackaging, distributing in its own package. So sometimes, like Singular, I think of, comes in a bottle of 30. And so this pharmacist that I'm talking about, who was really trying to keep cost under control, would want us to label that bottle, because we wouldn't have to take it out of the bottle and then put it in another bottle, which costs money. We actually pay for the bottle that it would go in, or the pharmacy bottle that you get, the amber bottle. If it can keep in that Singular bottle, then it saves us a little bit of money. Not only does it save us money, but sometimes it's safer for the patient, because the Singular will have everything on it already. It'll have the warning labels. It'll have how to take it, that kind of stuff. And all we have to do is label it. And so sometimes that's how the manufacturer wants you to dispense that medication, is through the bottle. So always ask. If you're filling for 30 and the bottle has 30 already in it, don't open it and put it in another bottle. Ask the pharmacist, can I just label this bottle? It's saving the money. You're thinking about cost analysis. They will really appreciate that. So, and then it goes into different terms related to the management of pharmacy operations, talking about annual reports, barcoding, budget monitoring, bulk packaging, fiscal year. So you'll want to go through some of that. This is not only good for pharmacy, but if you own your own business, or you're thinking about owning your own business, that you'll need to know some of these terms about that. And then there's some multiple choice questions at the back of this, excuse me, sorry, of this section. I'd go ahead and take some of these. This is just fun. It's not due to me or anything, but it sure would help to review for your pharmacy certification test. So if you have any questions about those, if you need the answer to them, let me know. I think you can go back through the chapter and find them, but I think it would be great review and great practice. I hope you have a great week. Let me know if you have any questions, and talk with you soon.